Yo, what's going on? This is Mistah Fab, and I want a big shout out, man, to all Urban Central. The ARC, that's what we call it when we see it on the ground.
What Billboard song have you written that have made you millions that nobody knows you can?
Made me millions? You trying to get me killed out here?
Yeah.
I ain't got no millions. I'm broke, baby. Me, baby. I don't got no money, B.
Look at that Fabby chain.
I'm chilling. That's light. Couple songs. I wrote a few songs.
How did the Chris Brown play happen?
Good play. Big shout out to Brittany. Brittany came through with a record. She brought it to Too Short to be a part of. We was able to pen a few little things to add to it. Big shout out to Bobby Brackens and Ty Dollars. Bobby actually, Bobby was the big pen behind that.
No way.
Yeah, so a lot of people, they never really give Bobby his credit for that. Bobby was a big pen behind that. And we just added a little sauce to it, man. And was happy to see it continue to keep, go further than what it was already doing. So just happy to be a part of it.
Did that make you want to write more songs? Or like help, I mean, when you're in the room, sometimes it's by default.
I love writing. I think that's always been one of my passions. Even before rapping, it was writing. It was, it was poetry. It was stories. It was, all kind of things, man. I love writing. I love writing for real.
Is there another song that you feel super proud to be part of?
Several records. A few records that I was able to put together, write, help pen, be in the room with, create the energy. It's dope, man. The writing thing is something I would tell people really get involved with if you are a talent out there, and if you don't have the currents of going as an artist as for an individual, but you want to be able to contribute to some different things, and you have the talent to write. Do your best, man, to get songs and petition them to other individuals to hopefully don't be so selfish with your creation. Sometimes you are so passionate about a record that you don't want to give it to anyone else, but that other person's notoriety can take what you've done and amplify it. And you got to get the jealous bug out your body and just watch it flourish.
Beautiful. What's your relationship with Philthy Rich? Shout out to Philthy.
Philthy is my brother. Me and Philthy went to high school together. We grew up together. We've both watched each other's careers elevate. We've been through the elevator together, the ups and downs of the music industry. And that's my brother. We have a real close, tight-knit relationship with music, outside of music. And I'm so proud of the things that he continues to do. His contributions to music, his contributions to his community, his contributions as a man, his parenting, and I wish nothing but the best for him, man, and I hope that he continues to keep elevating as he's doing.
That's another Bay Area, like, people in the Bay, they fuck with Philthy. What is the link up like with y'all in the Bay?
I think it's so small. It's so small that we're all together, and some things are unavoidable. So certain situations, if you're in the same circles with someone, either you rock with them or you don't rock with them. And if you rock with them, it's all in, and it becomes like a fraternity. It's a brotherhood. And we've actually pushed that brotherhood agenda for a long time. And it's a real, we've come up together. We've slept on couches together. We slept in, those rooms on those short circuit tours of just trying to all come up and get on together. And we've all shared so many memories collectively. It's hard for one another to front on each other. It's just like, yo, let's keep it going. Let's just keep building whatever it is that we're doing. And then, unfortunately, with some people don't like when folks elevate and they don't share their success. Me, I'm a person, I'm going to celebrate my brothers every chance I get. And that's what we're doing. We're getting a chance to celebrate some of our people that are continuing to keep going. Plus, he's an Aquarius like me, so more power to the bro.
I heard you used to play Slam and Jam and could have gone to the NBA. What's Slam?
I play ball. Slam and Jam was a organization, like, it was the birth of AAU, like early AAU. The guy who created it is actually now one of the most successful agents in the NBA, my brother Calvin. Okay. And it's just dope, man, to be able to be a part of something. We played basketball before all these pounds. We used to have a good time. Huge sports fan, so I was, I played. I don't know if I would have been able to take it to the league, but I probably could have.
Yeah.
Probably could have. I still give some of them buckets right now.
Do you?
Yeah, I give them some buckets.
I love it. That's even more meaningful to be at the Warriors games because
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm not a fair weather fan. Like I'm a person that really I'm a real basketball fan. So a lot of people, they see us at the games and they've watched me, be at these games for almost close to 2 decades, being there, being, what some would like to consider. I haven't reached legendary status like Spike Lee yet, but I am approaching loading legendary status. You see the lines, it's loading. But I want to be, synonymous with the Warriors, like Billy Crystal to the Clippers, like Spike Lee to the Knicks, and to all the other sideline fans that are famous. Jack Nick, you can't say basketball fan without saying Jack Nicholson. So I want to be able to be that for the Warriors. But the difference with those guys and myself, I actually get out there and give you some buckets.
Hey.
You feel me?
I love it. Explain how in high school you were undefeated on KNL in freestyling and could freestyle for 40 minutes straight.
I wasn't in high school when that was happening. They're dating me. Wasn't in high school, but I think some of the listeners were in high school. But no, we used to do the battles, man. Big shout out to Big Von. We would do the battle raps, and it was cool. Like, I would be on there and just being able, they would let me go, and they would just let me do what I had to do. I actually lost, though. I wasn't undefeated. I lost to my brother Locksmith.
Oh, wow.
Locksmith had got me one night, and man, he's to lose to someone like that, I'm okay, and I can say it confidently. Locksmith is one of the greatest lyricists that hip-hop has ever seen. And watching him flourish still these years later with real lyricism and showing the rest of the world that hip-hop artists can come from the Bay Area. I'm so excited every time that I hear him rap, and to watch where he's taking it. He's created a fan base that is solely based off real hip-hop skills. And hey, man, he's an amazing man. So to be able to say I lost to a brother like that, I'm confident in that, man. Go big win for Locksmith.
Oh yeah. What is Treal TV? What happened to it?
What is it?
Treal TV.
Treal TV. Treal TV. You can't be from the Bay and mess that up.
I'm so sorry.
Treal Television. Y'all know what Treal Television, man. Treal Television was something Justin Lomax, B Love, and Mac Dre created, man. And it was like, it showed the rest of the world what the Bay Area was. And it brought to life so many of the things that people in Northern California began to learn to love. And the things that they loved, it spread out and influenced people all over the country. Treal Television. Make sure y'all go check that out.
You were the first person outside of California to ghostwrite. What is ghostwriting?
That's not a true story.
You were the first person people saw outside of California ghostwrite.
I don't think I was the first person. I think I may have taken it nationwide when my videos was on MTV, and the video had went through some things with Viacom where it was banned, and there was a lot of controversy behind the video. And so the awareness of it, I may have led to some of the acknowledgement of what ghostwriting was. But man, yeah, I wasn't the first, but it was dope, man, to be able to take that worldwide. And everywhere we went, that's what the most interesting thing people asked about. They were most interested about that. They were intrigued about that. And it's so funny because Too Short told me one day, he said the first person to do a song about ghostwriting will be the one that gets the podium. And to sit at that podium and talk about it, man, I was juiced, man. So big shout out to Cred from Ghost Town for creating what ghostwriting was. Some stuff that was birthed in Oakland, California. And the rest of the world got a chance to see it.
Next question: Who is Pretty Bo?
Pretty Bo.
And how did you manage to ghostwrite a whole school bus?
Pretty Bo was like we talked about, man. Pretty Bo was that's who created ghostwriting. He's a kid from Ghost Town, Oakland, West Oakland, California, and he created just pulling up, walking his car. You see people who get outside of their car and they walk their dog. He would get out, let it roll slow, and he just sit on the side of his car with the music playing, and he just dancing, he just feeling good. It was tribal. It was tribal. That's and from the tribal Oakland, man. We descendants from, you feel me, the Okanda. You know what I mean? And man, it was tribal with us, man. And hey, man, you just had to know how to do it. We ghost rode the school bus. I had to make sure I had a clear path, and I seen it was a clear path, and I jumped out, and you feel me? I had to give it up to Okanda forever. You feel me?
How did Mac Dre change your life by signing you to Fizz Entertainment?
Mac Dre changed a lot of people's lives. I was happy to be handpicked by the Mac to be able to be part of this group that he was creating and this record label that he had plans for, and he had foresight, and it's the foreshadowing of what would be able to be with the Bay Area by putting the right people together. He was a brilliant man. He was a brilliant mind. He was an amazing human being, man. And I was just still to this day, as I sit back and I reflect on it, I'm still happy about the opportunity that he gave me, and I took full-fledged advantage of the opportunity, and I've been running with the baton ever since.
I love it. What is this?
Thiz, E-N-T. Thiz is a record label.
What's a Thiz face?
A Thiz Face is, our record label is Dope Face.
Where did Hyphy come from and where did it go?
Hyphy came from hyper. Being hyperactive, a man by the name of Keek the Sneak, which is a real icon and a legend from where we from. It's one of the first people that, created what Hyphy was. And the homie Twiceberg from a group called Off the Hook, when they would say for shizzle and things of that nature, and they created it. And Hyphy was just an energy that people walked around and they held and they had. And if you ask where Hyphy is, it's very much still relevant today. You still see a lot of people who have that same energy. The words may have been changed to, cover up the emotion, but the energy that it derives from is still so very much so alive. And hey, man, Hyphy will never die, man. Continue to keep going for the love of Hyphy.
Hey, why are your clothes called Dope Era?
Dope Era is the name of my clothing line. Why? I come from the Dope Era. The Dope Era was a time during the 80s and the early 90s where drugs were overly saturated in our communities, which were government experiences and things that they did to destroy the central units of intelligence in the communities that we come from, which actually leads to the after effects of what's going on now in gentrification and things of that nature. A lot of these things have been science socially engineered by higher powers and higher ups, but some of the things that were negative at that time, we actually were able to reverse them and change the negative narratives and reinvent the narratives by saying we're going to take the positives from those time and create them. We utilized it through clothing and refurbished some of those ideas, and now here we are with the clothing line called Dope Era, which is actually an acronym for developing opportunity for people to evolve, and when you do so, everyone rises above, which will later lead to the Dope Era Academy, which will be opening in 2023, which continue to keep taking all the negatives that people throw at us and changing the narratives and making them positives.
I love it. You always rap about Felix Mitchell and Lil D. Who is that?
They were kingpins in the Dope Era. Felix Mitchell was, you always hear the stories of the Supremes. I don't know if any of you guys just watched the documentary with the Supreme team that Nas was able to put together about Jamaica Queens drug kingpins. He put Supreme team, and you see the stories of Freeway Ricky Ross, and you hear a lot of the stories about some of the drug kingpins that came from those times and those eras. And not that we were highlighting that they were, flooding the community with just drugs, but their notoriety would be equivalent to who the big rappers are nowadays. And that's who they were. And Felix Mitchell was first. He was a little bit before my time. And Little D was a little bit before my time as well. But now that he's come home from prison, he and I have a close-knit relationship, and we talk almost every day. They were kingpins, man. They were, the big meaches of our city.
I love it. What is a pedestrian?
Somebody that's from the Bay that has the right of way to represent how they represent just because they from that area. You feel me?
Yay. Why is North Oakland called the North Pole and the people called polar bears?
North Pole, North Oakland. It was like, it was synonymous. It's like North and from the North Pole, and I would be Matthew Henson. And we're going to represent Ice City. That's what we call it nowadays. Ice City is just a cold, smallest side of Oakland, but the players are some cold players, man, and they polar bears, man. That's an animal that represents the North Pole, and that's what we identify ourselves with, polar bears and penguins, man, in Ice City.
I love it. What's San Pablo and what's its significance to the Bay?
San Pablo.
So
San Pablo is a street that became notorious in the 70s because that's where it housed the heavyweight of prostitution and pimps and prostitution. There was a movie called The Mac during the black exploitation days where they would show films that would be they would talk about what was going on. The Mac is one of the movies that influenced a lot of the players and pimps in those times. It was a big part of our culture at that time. And San Pablo was a strip like Crenshaw, like Sunset, like Hollywood Boulevard, like a lot of these other streets that became known for what it was known for. And San Pablo was known for, this was the strip that a lot of the prostitutes would walk. And a lot of the pimps would be out there. And on any given night on San Pablo, you were able to see some of the, the nice cars, the jewelry, the pimps, and those are the things that we grew up idolizing. We grew up idolizing that. That was a big part of our culture. Just like in LA, when you go to Crenshaw back in the day, you would probably see the lowriders. You would see these car shows, the side shows that, their version of the side shows, but you would see some of the notorious gang members, the Bloods and the Crips. We don't have that in Oakland. What we had was the pimps and the players. And so how people grow up subconsciously wanting to be gang members where we were from, we grew up subconsciously wanting to be players and pimps. And that was synonymous to our to our existence. So San Pablo was the strip that birthed a lot of those ideologies. And Stan Pablo is my alter ego. So you got San Pablo from Stan Pablo.
Yeah.
And that's my alter ego.
You got an album called Son of a Pimp.
You feel me?
How was it just your dad being a pimp and just dying of AIDS? Like, how did that affect your upbringing?
It was the things that, like I say, man, unfortunately, we normalize a lot of these things, but when you get older, internally, you begin to deal with it. You begin to rationalize the things that you were dealing with growing up. Like, damn, I did suppress that. I did overlook that. I think it became something to me when I got to a level where my daughter was able to read, and she asked me one day, Daddy, what's a pimp? And imagine trying to explain to a young girl what a pimp is and putting some positive highlights of who her grandfather was or what I was happy to proclaim him to be, and confessing, being proud and adamant that I was happy to be a son of a pimp. It actually put a lot of damper on some of the things that I would once parade. Unfortunately, in the communities that we come from, we grow up parading the poisons that have plagued our community. And some of those things had happened, and that's just what it was. I couldn't change the reality because that's the reality that I actually lived in. And I grew up, watching my father participate in what he participated in. And drug use was heavy. And he fell victim to dirty needles of heroin use, and he caught AIDS. And he was infected with the HIV virus, which later turned to AIDS, and he passed from that. And that was my reality.
Wow. Talk about your brother doing life in prison too.
My brother being in prison, still currently. My brother has been in jail. My brother 52.
Yeah.
Out of 52 years, my brother has probably been in jail 35 years.
Wow.
And of course, we're adding in juvenile hall. Like, he first started going to jail at 13 and things like that. And, people would say that, once you're institutionalized, but jail saved his life. Mm-hmm. And that's weird. But jail has saved a lot of people's lives. And hopefully, with the grace of God, if he does get a chance to get out, things would be set financially for him now. He won't have to worry about doing things to survive. In his defense, my brother never had a chance to live. And what I mean by that is there are many people that have grew up in hostile situations where survival was more important than anything else. So you can't call someone or judge something as being right or wrong if the situation is life or death. And only privileged people would look down upon that. Only someone of privilege would condemn someone for the options that they had nothing to deal with. My brother was born in a situation where our father was pimping. His mother was a prostitute, was left alone. My grandmother had a house full of children and couldn't look after all of those kids. And he was young, in the streets, trying to survive. And he had no chance. His only hopes was what he could make of himself in them streets. And the success ratio in the streets is not that good, and it's not in our favor. And, incarceration was, that's what happened to him. But it actually saved his life because he's still alive. He's done some magnificent things from behind those prison walls. He's right now on the brink of releasing his 13th book, of him publishing books on mental warfare, mental health care, children's books and more things. So he's accomplishing things. And, to me, I would vote for him to win a Pulitzer Prize. He's one of the greatest writers that I've ever had the privy of being in the proximity of being close to. I've learned a lot from him. And if he is given another chance at society, hopefully he comes out and does some remarkable things with his experience. And I wish nothing but the best for him.
Beautiful. Real quick, how did you and Miami the most fall out?
In Miami the most have never fell out.
Oh, okay.
That's Unc.
Oh, okay.
I was with
Miami.
Miami the other day.
Oh.
That's Miguel.
What is Hood to Hood?
Hood to Hood is a documentary that went city to city talking about all the things that were going on in inner city communities. It actually it highlighted a lot of stuff that was going on, man, and it rose the crime rate because people wanted to see if they could get on the next one. Did wonders for the director of it. He was able to profit off of it, and he went on to do a lot of other things, and now he's a real estate mogul. I'm so proud of that dude, man. Real good, man. But that's what Hood to Hood was.
I love it. Last question: how did DJ Mustard almost lose his life for stealing the Bay sound and disrespecting the Bay at your event?
I don't think he ever almost lost his life. It was a scuffle. Just being influenced. He's taken the music sound and from what was out and was available, and he's done marvelous things with it. 100 million records later, still continuing to keep producing, still continuing to put artists on and represent for his region. When you're young, you look at things from a biased perspective. As you get older and you look back and you reflect on something, the approach about the way that you approach ways, could have been different. And at those times, you're just being misguided and under a lot of pressure due to the areas that you come from. You feel entitled. And so, as a man and with my perspective that has grown immensely, I look back at that and say that was handled totally incorrect. And to go out and salute that dude for continuing to further the culture of West Coast music, sitting back watching where he's still taking it is something, and some lessons and blueprints that other producers can continue to keep learning from, and may he continue to keep elevating.
Hell yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to plug before we get out of here?
Big shout out to Big Echo. Continue to keep going. Black publicists, Black public relations, continuing to keep representing Black excellency, and the Black designers of the world. Let's continue to keep creating and being curators of this culture and adding the sauce where it ain't. The air way, not the other way.